here is this mid-thousands Guan Shing, Guan MEI thing. I don't know too much. This OEM's starting to get really confusing. I had a good idea about it earlier, but over the years, it's just kind of there's a lot of confusion with this OEM. I found out till like fairly recently or something. Notable things is the OEM switched their name from Guan Shing to Guan MEI, which is, I believe, Motor Electronics Incorporated. So Guan Motor Electronics Incorporated, something like that. They changed that in 2002. So this fan is made after 2002, since the branding on the back of the neck says Guan MEI on it, but on the the synchronous motor that's used for the oscillator, it's still branded as Guan Shing. So there's that. This fan's incredibly cheap. The plastic on it's just absolutely horrible. The spinner nut for the base is kind of screwed up, and then all of the decorative plastic over like the, I don't even know, I think it's like rubber. I don't know what this material is that's used on this base, but whatever that is, it's just all, the plastoid on there is all screwed up. I pretty much broke a lot of it off just because it just got kind of bad over the years. Actually, I'll move the fan back a little bit. Turn it around to the back side. I'm a sucker for 2000s fans with electronic controls. When I saw this one, I had to get it. This was at a junk store. I think they originally wanted 10 for it, then they dropped it down to 5. And then I think I traded them another fan and got this one for like $3. I can't remember, but pretty basic. This one I don't think has a, yeah, this one doesn't have a motor shaft sticking out the back. The synchronous motor on this is actually pretty big. It has a little capacitor on it. The motor is model MS4Y-14UL. It calls for 2.5 microfarad capacitor, 60 hertz, 120 volts. Guan Shing Incorporated. Weird word I can't pronounce. China. And it also has a like wire schematic on here too. The synchronous motor is a model TY50B. Does it say what the 4.5 rounds per minute? So there's that. As for the informations, which are literally almost impossible to read, this is ETL listed, which means too cheap to afford. UL. This is Guan MEI pedestal fan. It's a model SD6-1W. 120 volts AC. 0.45 amps. Made in China. 5107. I'm gonna guess 2007. I didn't even notice that stamp in here until now. Actually, I didn't even notice the sticker on the side of the motor until now. Landa, Lianda. That's what the wire for the head is branded as. Electronic controls that in the off position draw 0.08 amps, 0.4 watts, and a power factor of 0.03. I don't think that's a good power factor. I don't know too much. So that's kind of the downfall of electronic controls. It has a red light emitting diode on the control panel that stays lit whenever the fan's plugged in. I have a 2019 Nantucket Breeze stand fan that does the same, and I'm going to guess it's the same OEM. I always thought that this OEM died out sometime in the late 2000s, but I've noticed some products still being made to this day that have a lot of characteristics to this brand, which is another thing that kind of confuses me. The newest product I think I have that shares a manufacturer is that Nantucket Breeze stand fan,
The issue is that when I found it in the trash, it was missing the sticker on the back of the fan that contained all the model information. I don't think I recall seeing anything on the motor implying information about the OEM, but I'll have to have a look. But very strange. This brand's just a true enigma, and not too many people care about modern fans, and they won't really care to watch this video. So, if you're actually watching this and know a bit about Guan MEI or whatever, please put it below in the comment section. This is actually the first fan I ever seen that had Guan MEI branding on it. I had a 12-inch oscillating fan from, I think, 2005 that was made by this company, and it pretty much looked like an SMC product, but it wasn't an SMC product. It was very weird. The motor was way different, and I believe the motor on that one was Guan Shing branded. I think so, because I knew there was a reason why I called it a Guan Shing product. I knew it felt too cheap to be a Medea. It's weird. This one has like a more squared off motor housing. This motor housing I don't have it with me, but I'm going to do another video of this thing once I get it cleaned up and serviced. I have a base I'm going to put on it for my old Nortex, and I have the motor housing for it. I think that's about it. But after that, I'll hopefully get this thing cleaned up. I'll probably use this in the bedroom. The neck's starting to crack at the top. I don't know if this one would have had a remote. I don't think so, because I don't see anywhere for a IR receiver. I think it has an 8-hour built-in timer, animatronic oscillation, and free speeds. So we'll fire it up on low. Makes kind of a annoying bleep. This fan isn't that powerful, but it's more powerful than what you think it would be. Probably expect something like this to be pretty abysmal. I'd say it moves more air than those Lasco fans, the 60-inch Lasco oscillating fans they make today with like the very restrictive plastic grills. It's more than those. I'd say the air movement on this is pretty similar to like a SMC oscillating fan from like the 2000s. I would say it's a bit less than one of those. It's not crazy. There is a sound difference between the speeds, but there's not really much of an airflow difference. Actually, I take that back. There's a bit more of an airflow difference. The blades on this thing are just so thin. Once they get up to a certain speed, they kind of bend on each other, and they don't move as much air, and it makes a bit more of like a wind restrictive noise. It's also with this grill style. These grill styles are just so cheap. This OEM also made the wind mirror fans of the mesh grills too. So if you have one of those, good chances it's made by this company. I believe Paragon also made them too. And this is one of those things, I'm wondering if there's a relationship to this company and Paragon. There's some things I've noticed on some of their fans that just seem oddly similar. And then here's high speed. It's respectable, I'll say that. I say even still to today's standards, it's a pretty reasonable fan. Take a look at it. High speed, we're drawing 0.35 amps, 43 watts, 44 watts now. On low speed, we got 38 watts, 0.34 amps. I don't think there's much of a difference. Oops, I don't want high. That stabilize. Medium, we get 0.34 amps. And 40
watts. On high speed, we check the power factor. We have a power factor of 99, so that's actually pretty good. And then with the oscillator engaged, the oscillator, we get, it kind of jumps between 99 and 1. It also, according to the sticker on the synchronous motor, it draws 4 watts. Did it say on here what it draws? No watt mention there. I think it was like, I don't know what the allowance is, and then I have to look at this stupid thing. It's like really hard to read. If I remember, I'll insert a picture of this at the end of the video. 0.45 amps. Let's see what our amp draw is. 0.38. So yeah, it's running way under its allowance. It also oscillates really far over to the right side, but not as much over to the left. Kind of strange. It's kind of like a cheap thing. This is something I noticed with my Nortex too. It did this. I also had a classic breeze. I don't know if the classic breeze did it, maybe because that fan was a bit older. And then it also has the timer. With all the timer LEDs and everything engaged, it's still drawing 0.37 amps, actually 38, and then 46.3 watts. We'll wait for it to center and I'll turn it off. I believe it doesn't remember the oscillation when you turn it off. The bearings on this fan are actually pretty good. I haven't serviced them yet. These don't spin very long because of how lightweight the blades are. Holy crap, it remembers that it was oscillating. It turned on high speed too. I don't know if high speed was the speed I had it set to, so if I turn it to medium, then turn it off, turn it back on again, it goes back into oscillation on medium. Okay, so it remembers which speed it was on when it was turned off. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure if it's unplugged, it'll probably forget. There's wild moops on the floor, chasing a bug of some sort. I like this cheap little fan. I have a soft spot for the fancy electronic controls. There's something very oddly nostalgic about fans with like LEDs on them and stuff, and pilot lights and things. There's only one fan I really remember growing up that had a pilot light on it, but it's just still really cool. Maybe a couple. Also, the fact that it remembers if it was oscillating when it was powered off, I find that really cool. I also find the fans with any sort of like motor or some sort of oscillation like that to be pretty interesting. Anyway, I'll make another video of this thing once I get this thing fully cleaned up and restored.